How are you guys doing? Today is Saturday, June 26, 2021. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I'm going to review the Elite matchups and performances from yesterday, Friday, June 25th. And of course, I'm going to preview everything that goes on today as we navigate through the world of sports one day at a time. I think it's worth getting started in the NHL yesterday, as yesterday was the final day of the Stanley Cup semifinals, as the Central Division champs and the former Stanley Cup champs, Tampa Bay Lightning, hosted the New York Islanders, the winners of the Eastern Division. And in Game 7, the defending Stanley Cup champs Tampa Bay Lightning would beat the New York Islanders 1-0. The only goal would come in the second period, as it would come from Yanni Gourde, as they were actually shorthanded as they picked up the only goal of the game. The first star of the game, of course, went to Yanni Gourde, and, of course, just a great game all the way around from Tampa Bay to, of course, secure a spot in the Stanley Cup final alongside the Montreal Canadiens. So with this win, the Lightning win this series 4-3 in Game 1 of the Stanley Cup final will be played on Monday, June 28th at 8 o'clock on NBC Sports Network, just to give a sense of what playoff hockey is looking like as of right now. Staying within the playoff arena, but checking out what's going on in the NBA, there was only one playoff game yesterday as it took place in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It was Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals as the third seed Milwaukee Bucks hosted the fifth seed Atlanta Hawks. In this matchup, the Bucks would beat the Hawks 125-91 after they went on to outscore Atlanta 43-17 in the second quarter by 17 points. Or by 26 points, and then they outscored Atlanta by 8 in the third. For the Atlanta Hawks in this matchup, their leading scorer was their elite starting point guard out of Oklahoma, Trae Young. He finished with 15 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, and 9 turnovers in 28 minutes, as he shot 6 for 16 from the field, 1 for 8 from 3, and 2 for 3 from the foul line on the night. For the Milwaukee Bucks, their leading scorer was their elite starting power forward, Giannis Antetokounmpo. He would finish with 25 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2 steals in 29 minutes, as the reigning All-Star Game MVP would shoot 11 for 18 from the field and 3 for 4 from the foul line on the night. Their starting point guard and second team All-NBA All-Defensive point guard Jrue Holiday would finish with 22 points and 7 assists in 32 minutes, as he shot 9 for 14 from the field, 3 for 4 from 3, and 1 for 3 from the foul line on the night. With this win, the third seed Milwaukee Bucks have evened the series up at 1, as it is now a best-of-5 series for both teams, as the first team that wins 3 games within the series will be the team from the Eastern Conference Finals that advances to the NBA Finals. Game 3 will be played in Atlanta tomorrow on TNT to give a sense of what that's looking like. But that is what the NBA is looking like following yesterday's Eastern Conference Finals matchup. Looking forward to what's going on today on ESPN at 9 o'clock. It will be Game 4 of the Western Conference Finals, as the 4th seed Los Angeles Clippers host the 2nd seed Phoenix Suns. The Suns are currently leading the series 2-1, as the Clippers were able to get the win last night. The Clippers look to even it up today, so that is what playoff basketball is looking like. Jumping out to the baseball diamond, starting off in New York for the only doubleheader of the night, the New York Mets hosted the Philadelphia Phillies. In the first matchup, the Mets would beat the Phillies 2-1 at home, as they would come from behind to tie it up in the 7th from an RBI single from Lindor, and they would get an RBI single in the bottom of the 8th from Dominic Smith to walk it off in Game 1. For the Phillies in the first game, the start would go to Aaron Nola. He allowed no earned runs and only 2 hits in 12 strikeouts and 5.1 innings pitched. The loss would go to Ranger Suarez. Suarez would allow a run in 0.1 inning pitched. With this loss, Ranger Suarez is 3-2. In their batting lineup, the only player with more than 1 hit was their pitcher, Aaron Nola. He went 2 for 4 with an RBI on the day, the only RBI for the Phillies this game. For the New York Mets, the start went to Taijuan Walker. He allowed 1 earned run in 5 innings pitched, as he struck out 5. The win would go to the Mets closer, Seth Lugo, who allowed no earned runs in 1 inning pitched and struck out 3. With this win, Seth Lugo was 1-0. In their batting lineup, their elite shortstop Francisco Lindor was the only player for the Mets who had more than one hit. He would go 2 for 3 with an RBI and a run as he hit his 9th home run of the season. And following this win for the Mets, the Phillies would take Game 2, winning the second game 2-1. After the Mets tied it up in the 7th, it would be Odubel Herrera grounding out into the Phillies getting their 35th win this season. For the New York Mets, the start for the second game will go to David Peterson. Peterson allowed 1 earned run in 6 innings pitched as he struck out 5. The loss will go to the Mets closer, Sean Reed-Foley. He allowed 1 run in 1 inning pitched. With this loss, Reed-Foley is 2-1 on the year. In their batting lineup, their elite first baseman Pete Alonso will go 2 for 4. The only other player with more than 1 hit for the Mets was their catcher Patrick Mazeika. Mazeika would go 2 for 3 on the day. For the Philadelphia Phillies, the start for Game 2 would end up going to Matt Moore. He allowed no earned runs and only 3 hits in 5 innings pitched as he struck out 2. The win would go to the Phillies' second relief pitcher, Archie Bradley. He allowed 1 run in 1 inning pitched as he struck out 1. He would blow his first save of the season, but with this win, he is 3-1. And then the save would end up going to Hector Neris. Neris would allow no earned runs and strike out 1 batter in 1 inning pitched as he picked up his 11th save of the year. In their batting lineup, the only player with more than 1 hit was their catcher, Rafael Marchand. He would go 2 for 3 on the day. Their elite right fielder, former National League MVP Bryce Harper, would go 1 for 3 with an RBI and a run, as Harper would hit his 11th home run of the season. With this split series, the Philadelphia Phillies are now 35-38. That is the 4th best record in the National League East. They have won only 3 of their last 7 games, and they now trail the New York Mets by 5 games in the division at the moment. With this split series, with this win and loss, the New York Mets are now 39-32. They have lost 6 of their last 10 games as they currently hold on to the best record in the National League East. Right now, they're holding on to the 3rd seed in the National League. They sit 4 games ahead of the second-place Washington Nationals in the division. Jumping out to Milwaukee, the Milwaukee Brewers hosted the Colorado Rockies, and this is a game that would go into extra innings completely tied after the Brewers scored 2 runs in the 9th inning to tie it up at 4, and then it would be Keston Hiura's sacrifice fly to give the Brewers the walk-off run they needed to give them their 43rd win of the season. For the Colorado Rockies, the start will go to John Gray. He allowed no earned runs and only 5 hits in 5 innings pitched as he struck out 10. The loss would go to the Colorado Rockies setup man, who in this matchup was Lucas Gilbreth. Gilbreth would allow 1 run in 0.1 inning pitched. With this loss, Gilbreth is 0-1 on the year. In their batting lineup, their center fielder, Jonathan Daza, will go 2 for 5 with an RBI. He was the only player on the Rockies with more than 1 hit. For the Milwaukee Brewers, the start will go to Corbin Burns, who allowed 1 earned run in 6 innings pitched as he struck out 7. The win will go to their elite relief pitcher, Devin Williams, the reigning National League Rookie of the Year. He would allow no earned runs in 1 inning pitched as he struck out 2. With this win, Williams is 4-1 on the year. In their batting lineup, their second baseman, Colton Wong, will go 2 for 5 with an RBI and a run. Colton Wong would hit his 7th home run of the year. Their shortstop, Willy Adames, would go 3 for 5 with 2 RBIs and a run. He would hit his 10th home run of the year. And with this win, the Milwaukee Brewers are now 43-33. That is the best record in the National League Central, as they have won their last 3 games and they've won 5 of their last 10. They currently sit 1 game ahead of the second-place Chicago Cubs in the division. With this loss, the Colorado Rockies are now 31-45. That is the 4th best record in the National League West, as they have only lost 4 of their last 10 games. They currently trail the San Francisco Giants by 18.5 games in the division. Jumping out to Buffalo, the Toronto Blue Jays hosted the Baltimore Orioles, and the Baltimore Orioles would outscore the Blue Jays 1-0 in extra innings, thanks to a walk drawn by Pat Valaika. For the Toronto Blue Jays, the start would go to Alek Manoah. Manoah would allow 1 run in 6 innings pitched as he struck out 6 on the day. The loss would go to the Blue Jays closer, Trent Thornton. Thornton would allow 1 run in 1 inning pitched as he walked 3 batters. With this loss, Thornton is 1-3 on the year for Toronto. In their batting lineup, their elite first baseman Vladimir Guerrero Jr. would go 2 for 5 with an RBI and a run as he hit his 25th home run of the season, which I believe leads the MLB. And their left fielder Lourdes Gurriel Jr. would go 3 for 4 with an RBI and a run. For the Baltimore Orioles, the start would go to Matt Harvey. He allowed 3 earned runs in 5.2 innings pitched as he struck out 2 on the day. The win would go to the Orioles' third relief pitcher, Paul Fry. He allowed no earned runs in 1 inning pitched as he struck out 1. With this win, he is 1-2. The save will go to the Orioles closer, Cole Sulser. Sulser allowed no earned runs in 1 inning pitched as he walked 1 and struck out 1. That would be his second save of the year. In their batting lineup, their center fielder, Cedric Mullins, would go 2 for 4 with a run. The only other player on the Orioles with more than one hit was their first baseman, Ryan Mountcastle, who went 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run. With this win, the Baltimore Orioles are now 24-52. That is the worst record in the American League East, and that's the worst record in the American League as a whole. Starting off with the Blue Jays. With this loss, the Toronto Blue Jays are now 38-36. That is the 4th best record in the American League East, as they have now lost 5 of their last 10 games. They now trail the Tampa Bay Rays by 6.5 games in the division. And with this loss, the Baltimore Orioles are now 24-52, once again getting back to it. They now have the worst record in the American League, not just the American League East. They have won only 2 of their last 10 games, and they currently sit 21.5 games behind the Tampa Bay Rays in the American League East. Jumping out to Tampa Bay, speaking of the Rays hosted the Los Angeles Angels, and the Rays were able to beat the Angels 4-3 as they scored 3 of their 4 runs in the first inning, and they would end up breaking their tie in the 7th after Brandon Lau got hit by a pitch with the bases loaded. For the Los Angeles Angels, the start will go to Griffin Canning. He allowed 3 runs in 5 innings pitched as he struck out 4. The loss for the Angels would go to their first relief pitcher, Jose Suarez. He allowed 1 earned run in 1.1 inning pitched as he struck out 1. With this loss, Suarez is 2-1 for the Angels this season. In their batting lineup, the only player with more than 1 hit was their designated hitter, Shohei Ohtani. He went 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run as he hit his 24th home run of the season. And their elite third baseman, Anthony Rendon, will go 1 for 4 with an RBI and a run. He would hit his 5th home run of the year. For the Tampa Bay Rays, the start went to Andrew Kittredge. Kittredge would allow 2 earned runs in 2 inning pitch as he struck out 2. The win would go to the Rays' second relief pitcher, Collin McHugh. He would allow no earned runs in 1.1 inning pitched as he struck out 2. With this win, McHugh is 2-1 on the season for the Rays. And the save would go to Diego Castillo. He would allow no earned runs in 1 inning pitched as he struck out all 3 of the batters he faced. He picked up his 12th save of the season. In their batting lineup, their designated hitter, Austin Meadows, would go 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs. And the only other player with more than 1 hit was their center fielder, Kevin Kiermaier. He would go 3 for 4 on the day. With this win, the Tampa Bay Rays are now 46-31. That is the best record in the American League East, and they are currently holding on to the 2nd seed in the American League at the moment. They have now won their last 3 games, and they have won 3 of their last 10 to give a sense of where they are. They now sit half a game ahead of the Boston Red Sox in the division following this win. And with this loss, the Los Angeles Angels are now 36-39. That is the 4th best record in the American League West, as they have now lost their last 4, and they've lost 7 of their last 10. They now currently trail the Houston Astros by 11 games in the division. Jumping out to Cincinnati, the Cincinnati Reds hosted the Atlanta Braves. The Braves would beat the Reds 3-2 as they scored a run in the 5th, 6th, and 7th inning in order to pick up their 36th win of the year. For the Cincinnati Reds, the start and the loss would end up going to Vladimir Gutierrez. Gutierrez would allow 3 earned runs in 6 innings pitched as he struck out 4. With this loss, Gutierrez is 3-2 this season. In their batting lineup, their first baseman, Jonathan India, would go 2 for 4 with a run. Their right fielder, Nick Castellanos, would go 3 for 4. Their catcher, Tyler Stevenson, would be the third and final player with more than one hit, as he went 2 for 4 with an RBI. And their elite third baseman, Eugenio Suarez, would go 1 for 4 with an RBI and a run. He would hit his 16th home run of the season. For the Atlanta Braves, the start and the win would go to Drew Smyly. He allowed 1 earned run in 6 innings pitched as he struck out 3. With this win, Smyly is 5-3 on the year, and the save will go to Will Smith. He allowed no earned runs in 1 inning pitched as he struck out 2. That will be his 16th save of the season. In their batting lineup, their elite first baseman, reigning National League MVP Freddie Freeman, would go 2 for 5 with an RBI, as he would hit 2 doubles yesterday. Their elite second baseman, Ozzie Albies, would go 2 for 4. Their shortstop, Dansby Swanson, would go 2 for 3 with an RBI and a run, as he hit his 13th home run of the season. And their center fielder, Guillermo Heredia, would go 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run, as he hit his 4th home run of the season. With this win, the Atlanta Braves are now 36-39. That is the third best record in the National League East. They have now won 6 of their last 10 games. They now trail the New York Mets by 5 games in the division. And with this loss, the Cincinnati Reds are now 37-37. That is the third best record in the National League Central, as they have now lost 6 of their last 10 games. They now trail the Milwaukee Brewers by 5 games in the division at the moment. Jumping out to Miami, the Miami Marlins hosted the Washington Nationals, and the Marlins were able to pull off an 11-2 win to get their 32nd win of the year. For the Washington Nationals, the start and the loss will go to John Lester. Lester allowed 7 earned runs in 2.1 innings pitched as he struck out 1. With this loss, Lester is 1-3 for the Nats. In their batting lineup, their left fielder Kyle Schwarber would end up going 3 for 4 with an RBI and a run, as he hit his 22nd home run of the season. The only other player for the Astros with more than 1 hit was their third baseman Starlin Castro, who will go 2 for 4 on the day. For the Miami Marlins, the start and the win will go to Pablo Lopez, who allowed 2 earned runs in 6 innings pitched as he struck out 9 on the day. With this win, Pablo Lopez is 4-4. In their batting lineup, their first baseman Garrett Cooper would end up going 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs and 4 runs. Cooper would hit his 6th home run of the season yesterday. Their right fielder Adam Duvall will go 2 for 3 with an RBI and 2 runs. Their shortstop Miguel Rojas will go 2 for 5 with 4 RBIs and 2 runs, as Rojas hit his 4th home run of the season. And their third baseman John Birdie will go 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run. With this win, the Miami Marlins are now 32-43. That is the worst record in the National League East, and that is the 4th worst record in the National League as a whole. They've won 3 of their last 10 games, and they currently trail the New York Mets by 9 games in the division. With this loss, the Washington Nationals are now 35-38. That is the second best record in the National League, as they have only lost 2 of their last 10 games. They now trailed the New York Mets by 4 games in the division. Jumping out to Boston, the Boston Red Sox hosted the New York Yankees for what might be one of baseball's most heated rivalries. In this matchup, the Red Sox would beat the Yankees 5-3 after scoring 3 of their 5 runs in the first inning. Yankees would tie it up in the second, and then the Red Sox would break the tie in the third thanks to a Hunter Renfroe sacrifice fly, and then Christian Vasquez would double their lead in the 8th. For the New York Yankees, the start and the loss would go to Domingo Germán. He would allow 4 runs in 4 innings pitched as he struck out 3. With this loss, he's now 4-5 on the season. In their batting lineup, their first baseman Luke Voit would go 2 for 4 with a run, and their third baseman Gio Urshela would go 2 for 4 with a run. And additionally, their left fielder Miguel Andujar would go 3 for 4. For the Boston Red Sox, the start will go to Martin Perez. Perez would allow 3 runs in 3.2 innings pitched as he struck out 3. The win would go to the Red Sox second relief pitcher Garrett Whitlock. He allowed no earned runs in 2 innings pitched as he struck out 2. With this win, Whitlock is 3-1 on the year, and the save will go to Matt Barnes. Barnes allowed no earned runs in 1 inning pitched as he struck out 1. He picked up his 16th save of the year. In their batting lineup, the only player with more than 1 inning hit was their catcher Christian Vasquez. He went 2 for 3 with an RBI. With this win, the Boston Red Sox are now 45-31. That is the second best record in the American League East, as they have now won 6 of their last 10 games. They now trail the Tampa Bay Rays by half a game in the division, and they currently hold the best record in the American League wild card, as they have one less win and one less loss than the Oakland Athletics, who sit even with them in the wild card picture. With this loss, the New York Yankees are now 40-35. That is the third best record in the American League East. They've only lost 3 of their last 10 games. They now trail the Tampa Bay Rays by 5 games in the division, and they trail the Oakland Athletics by 4.5 games for the second American League wildcard spot. Jumping out to Dallas, the Texas Rangers hosted the Kansas City Royals and were able to pull off a 9-4 home win after scoring 5 runs in the 6th inning. For the Kansas City Royals, the loss would go to Mike Minor. He allowed 9 earned runs, all 9 of Kansas City's allowed runs in 5 innings pitched, as he struck out 2. With this loss, Mike Minor is 6-5 on the season. In their batting lineup, their elite second baseman Whit Merrifield will go 2 for 4 with an RBI, as he had his second triple of the season. For the Texas Rangers, the start in the win would go to Dane Dunning. Dane Dunning would allow 2 earned runs in 5 innings pitched, as he struck out 4. With this win, Dane Dunning is 3-6 on the season. In their batting lineup, their designated hitter Andy Ibanez would end up going 2 for 4 with 2 runs. Their first baseman Nate Lowe would go 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs. Their second baseman, Nick Solak, would go 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run. And then their catcher, Jonah Heim, would end up going 3 for 4, as he would finish with 2 RBIs and a run. With this win, the Texas Rangers are now 28-48. That is the worst record in the American League West, and that is the second worst record in the American League as a whole. They've won 3 of their last 10 games, and they currently trail the Houston Astros by 19.5 games in the division. With this loss, the Kansas City Royals are now 33-41. That is the third best record in the American League Central, as they have now lost their last 3 games, and they've lost 7 of their last 10. They currently trail the Chicago White Sox by 10.5 games for the division right now. Jumping out to Minneapolis, the Minnesota Twins hosted the Cleveland Indians, and the Twins were able to pull off an 8-7 win at home after scoring 4 of their runs in the 3rd inning. For the Cleveland Indians, the start went to Cal Quantrill. He allowed 6 earned runs in 4.1 innings pitched, as he struck out 2. The loss would go to the Indians' second relief pitcher, Nick Whitgren. He would allow 2 earned runs in 1 inning pitched. With this loss, he is 2-2 on the year. Nobody in their batting lineup would finish with more than 1 hit, and a lot of that can be attributed to great pitching from the Minnesota Twins. For the Twins, the start would end up going to Danny Colomb. He would allow 3 runs in 1.2 innings pitched, as he struck out 2. The win would go to the Twins' first relief pitcher, Griffin Jax. He allowed 3 earned runs in 4.1 innings pitched, as he struck out 2. With this win, Jax is 1-0 on the year, and the save would end up going to Hansel Robles. Robles allowed 1 earned run in 1 inning pitched. With this save, he now has 7 on the year. In their batting lineup, their left fielder, who in this matchup was Luis Arias, would go 3 for 4 with 3 RBIs and 2 runs. Their center fielder Nick Gordon would end up going 2 for 4 with a run, and then their shortstop Andrelton Simmons would go 2 for 3 with 3 runs. With this win, the Minnesota Twins are now 32-43. That is the worst record in the American League Central. They are tied with the Detroit Tigers for the worst record in the American League Central, as they are also tied with the Tigers for the 3rd worst record in the American League. The Twins have now won 6 of their last 10 games, as they now trail the Chicago White Sox by 12 games in the division. With this loss, the Cleveland Indians are now 41-32. That is the second best record in the American League West. They've only lost 4 of their last 10 games. They now trailed the Chicago White Sox by 2 games in the American League Central, and they trailed the Oakland Athletics by 2.5 games for the second American League wildcard spot, as the Indians are the very first team that are on the outside looking in. Jumping out to Chicago, the White Sox hosted the Seattle Mariners, and the Mariners were able to pull off a 9-3 road win. For the Chicago White Sox, the start and the loss would go to Carlos Rodon. He would allow 3 earned runs in 5 innings pitched, as he struck out 8. With this loss, Rodon is 6-3 on the year as a starter. In their batting lineup, their third baseman, Yoan Moncada, will go 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs, as he was the only White Sox player with more than 1 hit. For the Seattle Mariners, the start and the win would go to Yusei Kikuchi. He would allow 1 earned run and 5.2 innings pitched as he struck out 6. With this win, Kikuchi is 5-3 on the year for the Mariners. In their batting lineup, their shortstop J.P. Crawford would end up going Chuck for 6. Or he would end up going 2 for 6 on the day. Their right fielder Mitch Haniger would go 2 for 6 with an RBI and a run. Mitch Haniger would end up having a very good day for himself. Their left fielder Jake Bowers would go 2 for 4 with an RBI. Their designated hitter Luis Torrens would end up going 2 for 5 with 4 RBIs and 2 runs. He hit his 6th and 7th home runs of the season. And then their second baseman Dylan Moore would end up going 2 for 4 with 2 runs. With this win, the Seattle Mariners are now 40-37. That is the third best record in the American League West. They have now won 8 of their last 10 games as they now trail the Houston Astros by 8 games in the division. With this loss, the Chicago White Sox are now 44-31. That is the best record in the American League Central, and they are currently holding on to the third seed in the American League. With this loss, they've now lost 7 of their last 10 games, and they currently sit 2 games ahead of the second-place Cleveland Indians in the division. Jumping out to St. Louis, the St. Louis Cardinals hosted the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Pirates were able to pull off a 5-4 win after scoring 4 of their 5 runs in the third inning. They would break their tie with the Cardinals in the 5th inning, thanks to an RBI single from Jacob Stallings, and after that, it would be 4.5 innings of scoreless baseball. For the St. Louis Cardinals, the start would go to Kwang Hyun Kim. He allowed 4 earned runs and 4.1 innings pitched as he struck out a batter. The loss would go to the St. Louis Cardinals' first relief pitcher, Jake Woodford. He allowed 1 earned run without registering an out, and with this loss, he is 1-1 on the season. In their batting lineup, their elite third baseman Nolan Arenado would go 2 for 2 with an RBI and a run as he walked 3 times. He would hit his 15th home run of the season yesterday. Their right fielder Lars Nootbaar would end up going 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run for himself. For the Pittsburgh Pirates, the start and the win would go to Will Crowe. Will Crowe allowed 4 earned runs and 5 innings pitched as he struck out 2. With this win, Will Crowe is 1-4 on the season, and the save will go to Rich Rodriguez. Rodriguez would allow no earned runs and 1 inning pitched as he struck out 2. With this save, he now has 10 on the year. In their batting lineup, their third baseman, Cabrian Hayes, would go 2 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs. And then their shortstop, Kevin Newman, would end up going 2 for 3 with a run. With this win, the Pittsburgh Pirates are now 28-46. That is the worst record in the National League Central, and that is the second worst record in the National League. They have now won their last 2 games, and they've won 5 of their last 10 as they now trailed the Milwaukee Brewers by 14 games in the division. With this loss, the St. Louis Cardinals are now 36-40. That is the 4th best record in the National League Central as they have now lost their last 5 games, and they've lost 7 of their last 10. They now trailed the Milwaukee Brewers by 7 games in the National League Central at the moment. Jumping out to San Francisco for a battle of the Bay Area, the San Francisco Giants would host the Oakland Athletics for an interleague matchup, and the Giants would win the first game of this matchup 2-0. For the Oakland Athletics, the start and the loss would go to Sean Manaea. He allowed 1 earned run in 6 innings pitched as he struck out 7. With this loss, Sean Manaea is 6-4 on the season. In their batting lineup, their second baseman, Jed Lowry, will go 2 for 4 on the day, and their pitcher, Sean Manaea, will go 2 for 4 in the batting lineup as he is now batting 100 on the season. And for the San Francisco Giants, the start and the win would go to Johnny Cueto. He allowed no earned runs and only 5 hits allowed and only 7 innings pitched as he struck out 6 on the day. With this win, Cueto is 6-3 on the season, and the save will go to Jake McGee. He allowed no earned runs and 1 inning pitched as he struck out 1. He would pick up his 15th save of the year. In their batting lineup, nobody on the team would register more than 1 out, as their catcher, Kirk Casale, would go 1 for 3 with an RBI and a run. He would hit his 2nd home run of the season. With this win, the San Francisco Giants are now 49-26. That is the best record in the National League West, and that is the best record in the National League. And at the moment, that is the best record in the entire major leagues. The San Francisco Giants have now won their last 4 games, and they've won 9 of their last 10, and they currently sit 4.5 games ahead of the second-place Los Angeles Dodgers and the third-place San Diego Padres in the division. With this loss, the Oakland Athletics are now 46-32. That is the second-best record in the American League West, as they have now lost 5 of their last 10 games. They now trail the Houston Astros by 2.5 games in the division, and they are currently holding the second American League wildcard spot as they hold one more win and one more loss than the Boston Red Sox. They sit 2.5 games ahead of the Cleveland Indians, who are the first team on the outside looking in for the wild card race. Jumping out to Dodger Stadium, the reigning World Series champs Los Angeles Dodgers hosted the Chicago Cubs, and going into the bottom of the 8th, the score was tied at 2, and then the Dodgers would score 4 runs with a 2-run home run from A.J. Pollock and a 2-run home run from Max Muncy to give the Dodgers their 45th win of the season. For the Chicago Cubs, the start would end up going to Jake Arrieta. Arrieta would allow 2 earned runs in 5 innings pitched as he struck out 4. The loss would go to the Cubs' third relief pitcher, Ryan Tepera. Tepera would allow 2 earned runs in .1 inning pitched. With this loss, he is now 0-1 on the season. In their batting lineup, the only player with more than 1 hit was their right fielder, Jason Hayward. He would go 2 for 2 with a run on the day. Their elite third baseman, Chris Bryant, would go 1 for 4 with an RBI and a run, as he would go on to hit his 15th home run of the season. For the Los Angeles Dodgers, the start will go to Tony Gonsolin. Gonsolin would allow 1 earned run in 4 innings pitched as he struck out 7. The win would go to the Dodgers setup player, Blake Trinan. Trinan would allow no earned runs in 1.2 innings pitched as he struck out 2. He would blow his 3rd save of the season, but with this win, he is 2-3 on the year. In their batting lineup, Justin Turner would end up going 2 for 5 on the day. Their left fielder, A.J. Pollock, would go 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a run. With this win, the defending champs Los Angeles Dodgers are now 45-31. That is the second best record in the National League West, as they have now won 5 of their last 10 games. They, alongside the San Diego Padres, sit 4.5 games behind the San Francisco Giants. And because they have 1 less win and 1 less loss than the San Diego Padres, they have a better win percentage, and they're holding on to the top National League wildcard spot as they sit even with the Padres, and they sit 3 games ahead of the Chicago Cubs, who are the first team on the outside looking in. And with this loss, the Chicago Cubs are now 42-34. That is the second best record in the National League Central, as they have now lost 6 of their last 10. They now trail the Milwaukee Brewers by a game in the National League Central in the division, and they now trail the San Diego Padres by 3 games in the wild card race, as they are the first team on the outside looking in on the National League side. Last but not least, jumping out to San Diego, the Padres hosted the Diamondbacks and were able to pull off an 11-5 win, scoring 6 of their 11 runs in the first 2 innings. For the Arizona Diamondbacks, the start and the loss would end up going to their starting pitcher, Corbin Martin. Martin would allow 4 earned runs in .1 inning pitched. With this loss, Martin is 0-3 on the year. In their batting lineup, their right fielder, Miguel Rojas, would go 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a run. Their second baseman, Josh Van Meter, would go 2 for 5 with an RBI. Their third baseman, Eduardo Escobar, would go 2 for 5. Their first baseman, Christian Walker, would go 2 for 4 with a run. And their shortstop, Nico Ahmed, would go 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a run. For the San Diego Padres, the start would go to Chris Paddock. He allowed 5 earned runs in 2.1 innings pitched as he struck out 2. The win would go to the Padres' first relief pitcher, Nick Ramirez, as Ramirez allowed no earned runs in 1.2 innings pitched. He would strike out 1, and with this win, Ramirez is 1-1 on the year. In their batting lineup, their right fielder, Tommy Pham, would go 2 for 4 with an RBI and 3 runs as he hit his 7th home run of the season. Their elite shortstop, Fernando Tatis Jr., would tie himself for the league lead in home runs as he went 4 for 5 with 4 RBIs and 4 runs. He would go on to hit his 23rd, 24th, and 25th home runs of the season yesterday. Their second baseman, Jake Cronenworth, would go 2 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs, as Cronenworth hit his 12th home run of the season. And then their elite third baseman, Manny Machado, would go 2 for 5 with an RBI and a run. Machado would go on to, he would have a good game for himself. With this win, the San Diego Padres are now 46-32. That is the third best record in the National League West, as they have now won their last 8 games, and they've won 8 of their last 10 games as well. They, alongside the Los Angeles Dodgers, trailed the San Francisco Giants by 4.5 games in the division. And since the Padres have 1 more win and 1 more loss, they have a worse win percentage, and they are currently holding on to the second National League wildcard spot as they sit 3 games ahead of the Chicago Cubs. the very first team on the outside looking in to give a sense of where the Padres sit. With this loss, the Arizona Diamondbacks are now 21-56. That is the worst record in the National League West. That is the worst record in the National League, and that is the worst record in the major leagues. They are the only team in the major leagues who have won less than 30% of their games this season. As of right now, they've lost their last 3 games, and they've lost 9 of their last 10. They currently trail the San Francisco Giants by 29 games for the National League West at the moment. Well, that is what the MLB is looking like following yesterday's matchups. Looking forward to what's going on today. There will be a doubleheader that takes place in Detroit, as the Detroit Tigers will host the Houston Astros. For the first matchup, Casey Mize will host Framber Valdez. Casey Mize is currently sporting a 4-4 record alongside a 3.61 ERA, and Framber Valdez is currently 4-0 as he's sporting a 1.67 ERA. The doubleheader for this matchup, or game 2 of this doubleheader, will take place at 6:10, as Willie Peralta will make the start for the Detroit Tigers and Lance McCullers Jr. will make the start for the Astros. At the moment, Lance McCullers Jr. is 4-1 as he has a 2.90 ERA on the year. Outside of the doubleheader, at 2:10, Kenta Maeda and the Minnesota Twins are going to host Sam Hentges and the Cleveland Indians. At the same time, Lance Lynn and the Chicago White Sox are going to host Logan Gilbert and the Seattle Mariners. Lance Lynn is currently sporting a 7-3 record alongside a 2.14 ERA. At 2:15, Adam Wainwright and the St. Louis Cardinals are going to host JT Brubaker and the Pittsburgh Pirates. Adam Wainwright is currently sporting a 5-5 record alongside a 3.74 ERA. JT Brubaker is currently 4-6 as he currently holds a 3.77 ERA. At 3:07, the Toronto Blue Jays, led by their elite starting pitcher Hyunjin Ryu, are going to host Keegan Akin and the Baltimore Orioles. Hyunjin Ryu is currently 6-4 as he currently holds a 3.25 ERA this season. At 4:05 on FS1, Kyle Gibson and the Texas Rangers are going to host Kyle Zimmer and the Kansas City Royals. Kyle Gibson is currently 5-0, holding a 2.17 ERA. Kyle Zimmer is 3-0 as he's currently holding a 2.48 ERA. At 4:10 in Cincinnati, Luis Castillo and the Cincinnati Reds are going to host Ian Anderson and the Atlanta Braves. Ian Anderson is currently 5-3, holding a 3.33 ERA on the year. At the same time, Shane McClanahan and the American League leading Tampa Bay Rays are going to host Alex Cobb and the Los Angeles Angels. At 4:10 at the same time, Adrian Hauser and the Milwaukee Brewers are going to host Antonio Senzatella and the Colorado Rockies. Adrian Hauser is currently 4-5, sporting a 3.95 ERA. At 4:10 at the same time, the New York Mets, led by their elite starting pitcher Jacob deGrom, are going to host Zach Eflin and the Philadelphia Phillies. Jacob deGrom is currently 7-2 as he's currently sporting a .50 ERA on the year. At the same time, at 4:10, Zach Thompson and the Miami Marlins are going to host Patrick Corbin and the Washington Nationals. Zach Thompson is currently 1-2, holding a 1.50 ERA on the season. At 7:15 on Fox, Julio Urias and the defending champs Los Angeles Dodgers are going to host Alec Mills and the Chicago Cubs. Julio Urias is currently 9-3, holding a 3.99 ERA. At the same time on Fox, Nathan Eovaldi and the Boston Red Sox are going to host Jordan Montgomery and the New York Yankees. Nathan Eovaldi is currently 7-4, holding a 3.90 ERA on the season. At 10:05 on ESPN+, Alex Wood and the San Francisco Giants are going to host Frankie Montas and the Oakland Athletics for the Bay Area showdown between two of baseball's best teams. And then last but not least, at 10:10, Dinelson Lamet and the San Diego Padres are going to host Merrill Kelly and the Arizona Diamondbacks. Dinelson Lamet is currently 2-2 as he's currently holding a 2.81 ERA on the season. That is what the MLB is looking like as we transition into today, Saturday, June 26th. And then as we look out to what's going on in the world of soccer, starting off with the European Championship, because we are now moving into the knockout stages, starting with the round of 16. At 12 o'clock, it will be the very first matchup as Wales, the team that finished second in Group A, is going to face off against Denmark, the team that finished second in Group B. That game will be at 12 o'clock on ESPN. And then the second matchup of the day will take place on ABC as Italy, the team that made it out of Group A on top, is going to face off against Austria, the team that finished second in Group C. That game will be at 3 o'clock. Coming into today, there are 16 teams that are competing for the Euro 2020 title, and at the end of today, there will be 14. But as we inch through the tournament day by day, of course, I will keep everyone updated. And with that said, I want to thank everyone once again. I want to thank ESPN, the NBA, NHL, MLB, and soccer websites for, of course, giving me the facts and figures to do this website. And I want to thank everyone that listened to all 39 minutes of this piece. I hope all is well. Once today's matchups and exhibitions are done, I will come back tomorrow on Sunday, June 27th for another episode of The Elite. But until then, I want to thank everyone once again for listening to this whole piece. I hope all is well, and I will catch you tomorrow with another episode. But until then, peace out. Thanks for listening to my piece. And once again, today is Saturday, June 26, 2021. I'm James Sims. This is The Elite, and don't forget to be elite. Peace out.